Hi, my name is Jim and I was retired. I'm going to continue in my series of videos on my DIY retirement withdrawal strategy, updating my own spreadsheet and then comparing it with some alternatives in coming weeks. In this second video in this series, I'm going to show you how rather than using artificial intelligence, I'm using real simple tools to rebuild my DIY retirement withdrawal strategy. Stay tuned. I'm going to show you 3 examples of how I'm using my DIY retirement withdrawal strategy with very simple rules. Now, they'll span the gamut between a very simple rule like the required minimum distribution that I showed you in the last week's video to the more complex for the Social Security claiming strategies. And as you recall, I had a problem with spousal benefits. So I fixed it with some tweaks to that formula, and I'm going to show you all 3 of those as an example of how these formulas work. Follow along. The first one is this RMD spreadsheet formula that I showed you last time, and it's a very simple formula. It takes the year, subtracts the age, and if that is less than 1960, then that answer is true, and the answer is 73. If that had been false, the answer would have been 75. And that's how a basic if argument works. It's very simple. On the Social Security claiming, it gets a little bit more complicated. So let's start with the main Social Security first. Very first argument is pretty simple. Is your age in that row less than the claiming age? And if that's the case, 69 is less than 70, it's going to say 0. It's true and it's 0. But if it's false, as in the next case where you're 70, then it's going to go from the first true answer of 0 to the false argument. It's going to look at the next argument. Is your age equal to the claiming age? And if that's true, then it's going to respond with the right answer for a true answer, which in this case is the benefit that you've selected for age 70 of $52,300. But in the following year, in 71, you're going to go through a series of no's. It's not less than, it's not equal. So you're going to go to the last argument, and it's going to say, this is false, so show me the next answer. It's going to be 53,608. That works, and run it down. It'll always inflate the benefit above it by the COLA average for the rest of the column. For the spousal benefit, though, there's a tweak. You can't claim a spousal benefit unless the primary Social Security beneficiary is already started collecting. So there's some added arguments. Let's start with somebody who's 67. They've equaled the claiming age. So they're not less than the claiming age. So you can't put a 0 there any longer for that reason. But you'll jump to the next argument, and the next argument is the main column for Social Security, the one next to it, is that value 0? And if it is, then it's a true answer, and you put a 0 there. You stop. You don't do anything more. So in this next case, the person is 68. It's not less than the claiming age, so it's not a true answer. You're going to move on to the next argument. P is no longer empty. It's no longer equal to 0, so that's not true anymore. You're going to go to the next argument, and therefore it's going to say, is the line above it 0? And if so, it's going to use the first spousal benefit value in that year. And so in this case, it's true. So it's going to go over and get the spousal benefit of $20,200 for that first year. It's age 68, not 67. There's a little tweak there. You cannot claim until the spouse has collected. But in this case, with the the age is so close, this works out. In the next case, it's going to go through and say, okay, you're 69. You're no longer, you're less than the claiming age, so that's not true anymore. You go into the next argument. Has the main Social Security beneficiary started receiving? Yes, that's no longer zero. So next argument, is the line above empty? That's no longer true. So the answer is false, and you're going to put in 20,705, inflating that value above. So these two added arguments for whether the spouse is collecting Social Security and whether this is your first year or not decides what value to put in the spousal column. Please like and subscribe to this channel if you like entertaining ideas from a DIY retiree, and add a comment below about your favorite spreadsheet trick on your DIY retirement spreadsheet. So that takes you through the formulas that I'm using for the Social Security and the spousal Social Security benefits. And the pension was pretty similar as well. It starts at a pension claiming age and then continues whether it has a COLA or not. Let's move on to the withdrawals from your tax-deferred accounts. And in these three examples, I'm using the same formula for the main sheet. And the main sheet is really just a starting point for where you are so that you can compare a couple different scenarios. So in this case, I'm using a very simple rule to see whether you are using a payment formula, that's the PMT formula in Excel and numbers and sheets. It's very similar. Or whether you use a lookup for a RMD calculation. And you start doing that when RMDs are required. And if you look, this example here shows you, edit the formula, what we're doing with these. If the age is less than the RMD age, and then that's the column that we chose, and in my case, for this person, it's 73. And if the age is less than 73, then you're going to this argument for a payment based on the average returns, which is the real rate of return on your investment for the age that you want the money to last minus the current age, so you know how long you need to have this money last, and then take out expenses, and then this calculates what the value should be. So if this argument here is false, then you're not going to use this. You're instead going to use this RMD uniform table lookup to get the value of the IRA at the year end of the previous year and divide it by this value. And so in this first year, it's calculating a PMT, and it does that through all of these years until it comes down to here. So at this age of 70, it's no longer less than the RMD age. You're going to skip the payment if the answer is false, and you're going to go to the value, the RMD table. And in this case, as you can see, the formula results in that 20,298. And from there, it's going to use the RMDs, not a COLA or anything else. It's going to use the RMD values for this entire column. So for the spousal IRA, you're going to look at the similar formula. Is the spouse's age less than the RMD age, in this case 75? And if so, it's going to use the payment structure. And after that, use the RMDs, again, aligned with that person's age. Make sure this RMD uniform table starts at the right age for each spouse so that it ends up with the right factor when you're calculating your RMDs. A quick note about the Roth 401k withdrawal here and a corresponding deposit. This is a plus number in this column, not a withdrawal. All I'm doing here is transferring a 401k Roth, consolidating it with the Roth IRA. Now, I originally planned to do that before an RMD age required, but Secure 2.0 now does away with RMDs for Roth 401ks. But there is logic in combining those accounts to simplify our lives. The withdrawals from brokerage and savings I'm going to show you next time because they factor in how I use this old spreadsheet to figure out taxes over the life of the retirement with a standard kind of withdrawal, mostly RMDs. I'll show you the taxing side of a retirement withdrawal strategy next time. So please like and subscribe and hit the bell notification for part 3 of this series. I'll conclude with my standard warning. I am not a professional. I have no initials after my name. So always take these as entertaining ideas from one educated consumer to another. Always do your own due diligence and seek out a professional if you need one.